Hey, this is Trevor Sternad from the Black Dahlia Murder here, and you're listening to the Everblack podcast.
Hey, humans, Carl, this is Odorous from Guam.
I'm going to the Fear Factory.
This is George Corey from Under Fisher.
This is Jazz from Double Drop.
This is Wade from Our Last Enemy.
Mike Nick from Suicidal Tendencies.
Hey, this is Wednesday 13.
This is
Rex from Kill Devil Hill.
This is Gary from Sepultura. You're listening to Everblack Podcast.
Alright, before we go into this episode, we just need to give a shout out to our show supporters, the brutal occult clothing brand Electric Witch, who have amazing apparel from shirts to hoodies to hats to beanies and more. Check out their full range at electricwitch.com.au and put in the code EVERBLACK for 20% off your order. Don't forget to subscribe, rate and review the Everblack podcast through Spotify, iTunes, YouTube and Facebook, and check out all our articles at everblackmedia.com. Alright, on with the show. Dane, thanks for joining us on the show, man. Good to see you. What's happening in your world?
Well, beside from, being off there with Combichrist, I have my own project, Cyberscream, that I've been working on pretty heavily over the past, 5-6 months, kind of since this whole thing started. And I've had the band for a while, but I finally had some time to really crunch things out and you know what, I want a proper, honest to goodness album. And so I kind of put my stake in the ground as Dane White as an artist and not Dane White from Combichrist.
Yeah.
So, and both are amazing gigs, and I love doing both and having versatility. But I wanted to express myself in a different way, because everything you hear with Cyberscream is my own stuff. So I've written it all, I produced it all, I've sang it all, and performed it all. So it's very it's personal to me. So it's been really cool to get that out and have it be released next month on my birthday, actually. So
awesome.
That's been it's been quite exciting getting ready for that whole thing to come out, man.
That is awesome. Well, that is October 10th that comes out.
That's right. October 10th. Yeah.
Woo. Man. And as you said, you do everything, man, including vocals. That's,
right.
That's quite a feat, dude.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, a lot of people are thrown off. They're they only see me as a drummer and don't know that I was probably singing much longer than, I was playing drums for. But it's at one point I would sing and play drums at the same time. I've had several different iterations of how the Cyberscream show would go. And I used to have a full band. I would have no band and just me. I would have me and singer or backup dancers rather. But yeah, at one point I had a kind of a Britney Spears mic, and I'd be playing my songs, but I would have to sing along to it, and it was just out of necessity. That's kind of how it happened, but it's a good skill to build, I guess, in the meantime.
I don't know how you do it. That's crazy, dude. How did the project come about originally?
So this actually came from quite a while back. I've had this idea for, when I was in Arizona, playing at the local level as far as bands and stuff. And I just quit my previous band. It was a thrash band, which was great and fun, but I was missing something creatively. So I always kind of thought, and it was ironic because, I'm being such a fan of Combichrist and Rammstein and that industrial thing. I was like, you know what? If I had my own band, I bet it would sound kind of electronic in a way. And it'd be heavy and stuff, but, it would definitely have the electronic vibe. And I just kind of started thinking. And I remember being just kind of on a ride home somewhere out in the desert and seeing all this beautiful lightning out in the distance. And I was like, what if a band would sound like that? What if a band could sound like lightning? And I just kind of started thinking of that whole kind of imagery and, theme of electricity and stuff like that. And it kind of went from there. I didn't really know what I was doing as far as making music. I was very new to the producing stuff. But, you just get in there and start messing around. Say, what sounds cool? So I bought all this, this software and kind of started just making songs. And, I get five or so years later, here we are with a complete album. It's kind of a whole conglomeration of ideas that have been kind of festering and building for a while. So that's kind of been the process for that.
That's so good, man. And obviously playing live, how are you planning on doing it moving forward? Have you got a cloning machine somewhere?
I wish. Honestly, I can clone myself and make this all happen, but it's weird because like I said, we don't even know the state of performing right now of how things are going to be in the future. So right now, my focus has been getting out something cool and tangible that people can hear, and also they can see too. So I'm thinking of handling more on the internet level with music videos and really kind of different ways of showcasing art that's not live right now. But ideally, of course, I would love a full live band, with all the stops and an insane amount of theatrical element too. The show is very important to me. So not only do I want like great musicians and a great band, but also like, killer effects and very much top of the line, state of the art stuff. So that'll be coming eventually. But, until then, focusing more on like the kind of online aspect while we're still kind of in COVID mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I saw the little promo video you sent through, and that looks
yeah.
Awesome. I love the whole vibe of it. Who's the girl in the video with you? She part of it?
A couple of my good friends, yeah, and they're kind of interchangeable. What I called them when we were doing that, they were called the Sirens, and they were just a bunch of. Being in Orlando, I have so many friends that are into burlesque and go-go dancing and all that stuff. So it was a really cool way to incorporate them and have something different instead of just being, this the kind of normal metal show. So I think in the video you saw my friend Autumn and then my friend Allie, who are both fantastic dancers.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah. So we keep in touch. We haven't played like that kind of style in a while. But when I was playing live last in this kind of in this group, that was the dynamic. It would be me going between drums and singing, and then we had the dancers too. So it's been several different kind of iterations, like I was saying. But ideally, we'll have a band and the girls and the show and everything. So it's kind of building blocks, kind of like that.
You reckon you'll go back to singing and playing at the same time?
I don't think so. I wouldn't like to.
Yeah.
If anything, like it'd be cool to do the Godsmack thing one day. Like, have like the other kit come out or something and have some, showcase that I can still play drums if I'm not, But ultimately, I just want to front the band. I just want to sing. And, I would have somebody else, on the kit behind me and 2 guitar players and a bass and keyboards and all that stuff. So, yeah, a full band is definitely, the plan and the goal.
Awesome.
And,
yeah, man. What came first for you, man? Was it singing or was it playing drums or was it guitar? Like, what was your first step into the musical world?
I was actually very involved in music for a long time. Even from when I was a kid messing around like a little play school keyboard. But I got into it pretty early on in school. In elementary school, I started playing saxophone in like 5th grade. So I became a huge band nerd, and basically did that up until college. And I was always really interested in metal and particularly drums. And I wanted to learn, but just never really had a chance and never really had the equipment. But I finally got a kit in like 2010, I think, for Christmas, and just got in my garage and just went to work for hours and hours and hours a day, and it became something I liked so much and I wanted to do. And so music was always super important, and I was always very disciplined and like with my practice and my wanting to be the best that I could be. So it just kind of went from there, and then they started joining bands, and then then now we are doing my own thing and playing with Combichrist. So it's pretty cool, man. Just perseverance goes a long way, I guess.
Living the dream, man. That's the way to do it, dude. Absolutely.
Trying, dude. I'm absolutely trying.
Well, how did it? Musically, where I hear a lot of influences in what you're doing. What would you say where you draw from the most when it comes to Cyberscream?
I think it's like everything that I think is cool, which could be like all across the board. Of course, my kind of troubadours are like Corey Taylor and Slipknot. Like that was like my favorite band ever. I have a lot of influence from him, of course. But, I have also tons of influences from like guys like Chris Cornell. I'm not sure if you've heard of the band, the 1975.
Yes.
Anyway, like they're British kind of like pop rock band, I guess you could call it. But killer musicians, and that kind of has that 80s vibe. And I kind of grew up with that kind of dancey stuff too. So it's really just something that has a cool pulse, and a beat that you can groove to and you can kind of feel in your chest, but also that kind of crushing edge of like the metal guitars and stuff. And of course the electronics and like that kind of heavy, Rammstein industrial freaky sounds. And on top of that, it's kind of a cool soaring rock voice that can kind of just bring it all together. So kind of really a mix of everything that I like as far as, as far as bands are concerned. But I would say those are kind of the main influences.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's a good blend.
Yeah, it sounds cool to me. I hope it sounds cool to everybody else. But, that's all I can hope for.
Oh man, I think it's going to go down really well. And of course, I mean, you were talking before about joining Combichrist, which is one of my favorite bands.
Nice.
How did that happen? I mean, you took over from Joe Letts and then carried it on.
So with that, like I've been a fan of Combichrist since I saw them for the first time with Rammstein, like 2011, and was blown away. I was like, whoa, this is an insane band. And just kind of following them through social media and following Joe Letts, I'm a big fan of his too. I remember being at work one day at Disney. I was playing a show there as I played drums. But I saw that he was leaving. I was just like, no way, like, that's so insane. I can't believe, how can they do Combichrist without Joe Letts? And I was like, who could replace him? And I just kind of started thinking, like, well, I could. I know how that band should be, and I would do a great job, I think. So I just reached out to him, man. It was that simple, and surprisingly, they got back to me. And after a couple of back and forth calls and texts and emails and stuff like that, I sent a couple of audition videos, and here we are, and we've been, I've been in the band for a little over a year now.
So good, man. Andy's a good dude too.
Yeah, awesome. Definitely, it's been cool getting to know those guys on a personal level over the past year or so. But yeah, definitely, it's a great gig, man. Super happy for it.
Man, it must have been awesome just hitting the road and seeing the world like that with those guys too. How was
definitely
all that?
like
cramming that in?
I was just like thinking the other day too. Just like I can't believe how much of the world I saw in the span of like 7 months. And I do got to say, I think Australia was one of my favorites for sure. I can't wait to go back there. But also like Russia, man, Moscow was amazing. And like, it was like, a winter wonderland. I couldn't believe like, just a year prior, I was not doing that, so it's kind of one of those amazing things. You kind of stop and realize what you're doing. But it's great, man. I like right now, our plan is to go back, I think sometime next spring, but who knows? We'll see what happens. But yeah, I can't wait to get back on the road and start doing it again.
Come back to Australia.
I hope so. Yes. Sooner than later, I would hope.
I saw you in Brisbane with our mates Dark Cell, and that was awesome, man. Like, I've seen Combichrist a few times over the years, and that was like one of the best times I've seen you guys. How was the rest of the tour though? I mean, you got out there and saw a little bit of our weird country. Was it what you expected? You hear all the rumors like everything will kill you, and then you come down here and.
Well, in a way, I think I was prepared because they say Florida is the Australia of America.
Oh, true.
So I think I was already ready, I think, in a way. But I didn't know what to expect, honestly. And our first show was in Canberra, and I remember that being kind of light, and I was a little surprised, like, I'm not sure what the response would be like here. And as we kept going, it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was like, okay, now we're cooking, now we're partying. And it was great. I feel like everything is kind of islandy. Everything's a bit slower in Australia. Is that correct? Kind of the way things work there?
Some of us are a bit slower,
Yeah, just kind of like everyone's kind of chill, not really eager to, to get things moving sometimes. But no, overall, it was great, man. And I really enjoyed it. It was beautiful weather too. I think it was just coming out of winter for you guys, I want to say.
No, it was about this time last year, I think.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like October-ish or so.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, man.
That was good fun. And of course, I mean, Dark Cell, you hit the road with those boys. Do you still stay in touch with them?
I do every now and then. Yeah. We'll get it's Jesse, right? I'm blanking on names,
Jesse.
But like, Jesse will hit me every now and then. We'll chat. But no, they're all super cool dudes, and we're super friendly and fun to hang out with. So I think at some point we were talking about bringing them out here to the States or something like that. It was that was mentioned, and I'm not sure what happened with that. But I hope that happens one day. That'd be sweet.
Yeah. You got to check out Jesse's books too. He's been getting busy behind the scenes here with writing. So shout out to Jesse.
I heard that.
Yeah. Hey, Jesse.
Absolutely.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, it's awesome. And of course, these guys too. You play with these guys, other friends of mine. Our last enemy.
Cool.
They're awesome guys. But man, you're always welcome anytime down here. Might as well just come down here.
I can't wait to be back there, man. And I hope that people are going to dig the Cyberscream stuff I'm putting out.
Yeah.
And hopefully next time the Combichrist is there, we'll be able to rock out too. So we're ready to hit the gas, man.
Is there more Combichrist on the way as well? Have you guys been do anything?
I can't say, actually. You know, that's all Andy's business as far
Yeah.
as what's coming out and what's going to be, you know, the next move as far as music. So I'm sure I'll know before you guys, but at this moment, I don't really know either. So, you know, I guess we'll, the only thing I do know is we want to start touring again soon.
Yeah, man.
So that's the most important thing, to get back out there and start playing shows. But
would you ever do the back-to-back double show, like you do the Cyberscream and then Combi?
I have thought about it, you know, and that'd be awesome. And it sounds great in theory too. I'm sure it's a lot of work. And I think even like Eric has mentioned, like doing something with Sex Slaves back to back with Combichrist. So we all have our different groups. It might just be like a giant Combichrist discography of all of our different bands one day. But no, I'm definitely not opposed to it, and that'd be sweet. But that's the next step, of course, you know, getting Cyberscream on the road after everything is kind of set with this new record coming out. So,
man, that'd be awesome. Like, I mean,
it would be, yeah.
You've got both those bands, which means you're going to be musically you're going to be very musically active, which is what you want to do, man. It's in you,
for
it's
sure.
in your blood. You know, you want to be, you know, out there touring and, you know, and not just waiting
Absolutely
around. So, and keep those creative juices flowing. So,
and it's time for people to hear it too. You know, I think in a lot of ways people have been kind of surprised at, you know, what they've heard so far, and you know, they've only heard a couple of teasers, but like people are kind of like, whoa, like some of those themes in this album are kind of a little racy. So like, you know, it's been kind of it's been fun to see the reaction to so far, and I can't wait until everyone gets the full, you know, gist of it once they can hear it all.
Absolutely, and you've got a great voice too, dude. Like,
thank you, man. I appreciate you saying so.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it really showcases your ability, not just as a drummer, as a vocalist. Like you do all the stuff, and it's incredible. It's really, really well done.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And that was the goal. You know, I wanted to kind of establish, like, hey, I can do other things too. You know, so like one of those things. But it's going to be cool to establish that in moving forward here.
Awesome, man. You mentioned Disney before. Were you
Yeah. So basically, whenever I'm not on tour or doing Cyberscream, whatever, I'm still a working musician and a working entertainer here in Florida, or Orlando more specifically. So yeah, you can always find me at Disney sometimes, or at Universal in different kind of musical iterations, whether I'm playing sax somewhere or playing drums, or in this random, you know, like the background guy in a stunt show. I kind of do anything and everything, you know, so I'm always gigging, always working. So it's kind of cool to have that variety of things to do with jobs. I'm never like doing the same thing for too long. So
when you're not doing music, what do you do? Are you actor as well? Do you?
Yeah, sometimes it depends on what's happening. Like in some cases, when they would have Halloween Horror Nights at Universal, I'd be an actor, and like I was a crazy vampire from the 80s with a mic, and like, you know, like yo, what's New Year's Eve, yo? And like I did that, and then another year I was like an apocalypse leader kind of cult thing, and then you know, then I, you know, put the smiles on and I'll go play saxophone for the Blues Brothers or whatever. So it's like you kind of do whatever is available, you know. So like it's fun, you know. Nothing's ever too boring.
There's that creative thread through all of that, even if it's not your own stuff. I mean, you're still being musical, and that's what a lot of people dream about, is living that, you know, keeping that.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, like working there the past 4 or 5 years that was my college for entertainment, because like, you know, I came out here pretty green. Like I was kind of involved in performing, but never really had no choice but to do it full time. And it's amazing to hear, like I had a Cyberscream demo that I put out in like 2016, and just to kind of hear the difference between that in my kind of delivery of my voice and like the character and like the way I was able to actually get into it, almost in an actor sort of way, was miles ahead in this new record coming out. It's like you can hear that I'm kind of comfortable being a little more weird and a little more open now. So definitely being forced to be on a stage and, you know, really find a way to engage with people and make them like you and make them, you know, be entertained. That was a great learning experience that I definitely needed, I think, to be where I am now. And even in Combichrist too, kind of get me out of my shell, as it were. But yeah, it's been a super cool experience working for those guys too. So I'm here to perform, dude. I'm gonna give you everything I got. So it's kind of
that's the way
one
to
of
do
those
it.
things.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
man. Absolutely. And of course, you know, when everything calms down, we hopefully see you back down here. But where do you want to go in this big wide world? Where's somewhere that you've never been to that you want to hit the road and go to and experience?
I still want to go to South America. We haven't been there yet.
Yeah.
We were planning on it last year. Things didn't really work out. But I would love to go down to like Brazil and Argentina and just hit some of those countries. But honestly, I just want to go back a lot of places. I was pretty lucky to see most of the world, you know, when we went last year. So like I said, you know, Australia is definitely on the top of that list. Russia and Moscow. I heard St. Petersburg is cool, actually. We didn't get to explore there very much, but just maybe like the places that we were only in for a couple of hours and just kind of had to pass through. So maybe, you know, cool to go out to some of those and explore a bit more and kind of get an idea for a feel of the city, things like that.
Man, living the dream, bro. Well, of course, the new Cyberscream album comes out on October 10, your birthday.
October 10th. It is, yeah.
Happy birthday.
That's absolutely right.
10.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll have all the links here, as I always say. It's always down here. So
Perfect, yeah.
links, pre-order it now. And dude, thanks for hanging out on the show, man. It's been a pleasure and good to see you in the well, sort of in person again.
Yes, absolutely. No, I appreciate you having me on, dude. And like I said, hopefully sooner than later we'll see you in person and we'll play a show, man.
Yeah, dude.